Howdy, I'm Cowboy Ken. This is Bare Bones Bob. Welcome to the Drop Zone. For those who don't know me, I'm a retired Sergeant Major out of 5th Special Forces Group, United States Army's Green Berets. I got a very special guest with me today. He's calling in on phone from Florida. John C. Shoemaker, a retired military. John, welcome to the Drop Zone.
Thank you very much. Cowboy Ken, I appreciate it.
Okay, John, tell us a little bit about your background here.
Okay, well, I'm originally from the Boston area and went to the University of Massachusetts back in 1968 when all hell was breaking loose in Vietnam during a Tet Offensive. And of course, that was a really terrible time with the body count being reported every week by Walter Cronkite, about 500 dead. And so many of the college students were panicking and either joining the Peace Corps or going to Canada or committing suicide. It was just a brutal time. Of course, that was liberal Massachusetts, which is worse today even. But anyways, I decided to take a complete adversarial approach and say, look, I'm here to see if I can help save American lives, and I'm going to enlist. And I wanted to become an officer so I could lead a small unit in combat. I felt like I could do it. Anyways, in '68, I joined the Army, went to basic, Fort Dix, Fort Polk, then up to Fort Benning, went through airborne school, then OCS for 6 months, was able to get through all of that. After graduating from college, of course, you needed a degree at that time to be let into OCS, which I think has changed a bit. But in any event, after that, I spent 6 months as a training officer before going to Fort Sherman, Canal Zone, where I went through jungle school and then off to Vietnam. In the meantime, I had gotten married that next Christmas and had a son the following year. So I went to Vietnam with our son 3 months old and ended up in Chuai, working for the AmeriCal, the 196th Light Infantry Brigade. I was with Bravo Company, a 3rd platoon leader for the 2nd Battalion, 1st Infantry. Spent my year, saw quite a bit of combat. After 6-7 months, I was promoted out of the field, became a headquarters company commandant for the battalion on Hawk Hill, which is a big fire base northwest of Chuai. So after that, I came back to the States, focused only on getting a job, and I may have told you, Ken, that my interesting part there is, trying to get a job. I was ready to take any kind of a position, and this recruiter told me to go over to Xerox, and they were hiring officers coming out of the military, and I was being interviewed, and this guy says, well, you might have this concern of call reluctance. That is, are you willing to make calls with people knocking on doors that you don't know at night, different areas of the city, and you're knocking on business doors? And my answer was, well, wait a minute. Is there a gun on the other side of that door? and if there's no gun, what the hell's the fear?
Yeah, hell yeah.
So that was not a problem. I had no problem making those cold calls night after night, day after day, and became quite successful. Went on to a 50-year career in business. That is hardware, software technology, systems integration, radio frequency identification, and so forth. And then, after 50 years, scanning through my life real fast, we have an announcement coming over our PA system. Yeah. And anyways, so...
Stand by for the interruption, folks. We're bringing you a message from our sponsor. Wait a minute.
Exactly.
I ain't got a sponsor.
Yeah. So they're turning off the water to our condominium because of some repairs they have to do.
Uh-oh.
So anyways, after 50 years in business, I kind of retired and went to Florida and decided what else could I do of service to the country, because I felt like I had done very well, had great opportunity, This country has given me so much that I decided to run for office and became a commissioner in our local town.
Outstanding.
And, in that regard, for 3 years, I did what I could to help the community, to serve the community. And the big decision during that time was to create our own fire department, our own EMS operation. It was a $10, $12 million investment, so it was a big deal. And now, as a result of that, as commissioner, I also created a tab on the town website so that I could write articles after interviewing veterans in our town on those that have served as veterans. And as I write these articles, I then publish it on the tab on the website for the town, as well as it goes out in a newsletter from the town manager. So it brings recognition, and it brings a good feeling of community and togetherness and knowing who's who in our town.
Oh, that's very cool.
We're not in New York City. We're a small town in Florida, and Florida gets it.
Okay, now let's expand on that. Your veteran thing. You do the interviews. You seek them out, or do they find you, or how do you do that?
Well, mainly I find them. I go check the condos. I'll get referrals on occasion, but mostly I have to go find them because a lot of them don't think about sharing their backgrounds and their stories, and they stay quiet. So once I find them, then I talk to them, explain, look, I just want to interview, find out what you did, not only what you did in the military, but also how that helped you and impacted your life since, and where you are now in our town, and why you like our town.
Well, why did you want to do that? What prompted you to take that type of action?
Well, again, it's to me, it's all about trying to help the veterans, number one. Number two, trying to educate the community on the sacrifices made by our veterans, and that they're living in the midst of some heroes. In fact, the title of the tab is, the heroes of Highland Beach. Highland Beach is the name of our town, and these are the unsung heroes. And they have done, a brigadier general during a Tet offensive, he was a company commander, and he got blown up in the attack on Saigon. From that story to a Marine, a helicopter pilot with over 150 air medals. It's an unbelievable story. So, and I have the full range. It's on my tab.
Wow.
It was my way of trying to give back to the community.
That is outstanding. Now, John, you've got concerns now. We've discussed this on the phone a little bit. You've got concerns about the direction of our country. Tell us a little about what your concerns are.
So, I have been kind of a moderate, conservative, since my Army days. Before I went in the Army, I guess I was more liberal conservative. But I see today, especially now with what happened with Obama, and then this whole thing with Biden has really thrown me for a loop. And now Kamala Harris and Walz's combo, it blows my mind. I just feel that we are going through a major transformation that can hurt our country going forward. The focus seems to be on a track to take us down this road of socialism. And to do that, they need to have open borders, have us flood with all of these people who are needy, who need to go on welfare, who are the government enabling their connection to the government. They become dependent. And creating that dependency is how the government then secures power. It's classic in terms of the socialistic world and how they obtain power. They do that through people who are poor, and so they can take advantage of that, as well as they do it through division, creating lots of division.
Now, John, don't mean to interrupt, but right there, what you're saying, they're dependent on government, and government is giving them what? You think they're giving them everything, as far as I know.
Oh my goodness! When they come across that border, they get everything from free transportation, pick a state that you want to go to, get your free health care, get your children, if you have children, they'll get free schooling. You'll get a free lawyer, and you'll get cash. You'll get a cash card in New York City or you can get your driver's license, get an ID, and then you can vote. And of course, now there's an effort going on in Texas, California, and Michigan, and Wisconsin that they're already registering to vote, because once you get a license and they are living somewhere, they can get a utility bill. They're done.
Yeah.
They're in. You can vote.
So what do they call that? You know what they call that, right? There's several names for that.
Well, I would call it fraud.
Yeah, well, it's called fraud. You know, called the replacement theory, or the destination. Oh my gosh, it just flew out of my mind.
Well, it's the immigration is being used to
demographic destiny
of our country. And now I get back to the central theme is we have a culture in this country that was established by the Constitution that allows people to succeed on their own merits, on their own efforts. And that is the reward they get when they put in the effort to go to school, get an education, work hard, and take risks. And yet this culture doesn't like, the meritocracy.
Right.
They would prefer having everybody being dependent on the government. Education's nice. Don't want to spend too much time on education. But don't want them to learn anything other than socialism. Then you have this whole thing about the original sin and slavery, and now they're talking about things like reparations. I mean, to me, this also, you could describe it as a lack of common sense. There are certain things that just make no sense whatsoever.
Well, John, it's common sense is not so common anymore. Yeah.
It drives me crazy to think that, putting tampons in schools for little boys makes sense. That this whole thing with gender identity or DEI, the so-called effort to show equity by leveling the playing field, allowing no one to really exceed the standards, but to lower the standards for everybody. That is unacceptable. Right.
So you're talking about Kamala's for equity. That means equal outcome. And the Constitution's all about equality, equal opportunity, and then meritocracy. You succeed based on your merits.
Well, and combined with diversity and the idea that, in order to level the playing field, even though you're qualified, even though you've worked hard, you've got your degrees, you've got your experience, you've got the credentials, that's not going to count because you have the wrong color or you don't have the right background.
That's DEI, yeah.
That's what will cause a difference between an Elon Musk and space tech versus what's happening with Boeing. Okay, they can't get their rocket off the ground, and yet one is focused on DEI and the other is not. Or you take a look at the Secret Service. Don't tell me that that's not an example of DEI gone wrong. Okay, you can talk about in California doctors where the standards are lowered. More kids are entering medical school who didn't make the grade, whether they're black, brown, green. It doesn't matter. The fact is, you have people going into these positions that affect lives.
Sure.
Pilots. All right? Air controllers.
Now, John.
DEI programs.
So, John, so you see the direction of the country, and from your background and all that, and I see it also. What are you doing to get that message out there to the folks that need it? I know you've got your website for the heroes of your area there. What do you say to the folks out there?
So to go beyond my small town, which is what I've been focused on, I need to spread the word as much as I can, whether it's on Facebook, through my own website, through doing events like this with you, Cowboy Ken, which I really do appreciate and value the opportunity to get the word out. We do it through our town website as well, reaching out to veterans, and to communicate the basic message. We have 5 issues here. It comes down to 5 issues. First is policy versus personality. Everybody gets wrapped up in Trump's personality, yet it's the policy that runs our lives.
Excellent.
Then you have free market versus socialism. I mean, there's a clear difference there. Then you have this, who wants big government versus take away the intrusion and burdensome of big government. Make it smaller government. And then you have the bureaucracy. You see today, it's on the news, the IRS is endorsing Kamala. Why? Because it's 87,000 agents. They're continuing
We'll need a job.
They can control everything. And the bureaucracy for the dozens for a couple decades have been able to make laws through their regulations. And that finally was overturned by the Supreme Court with the Chevron decision. Okay?
Excellent,
and the point is, bureaucracy is something that strangles. And that's why we have the oil and gas war by the Democrats. That's why there's so many restrictions and regulations and interference that's going on. Lastly, the issue is meritocracy and the culture of this country of success and wealth that has made it the greatest in all humanity, in the history of all humanity.
Correct.
Versus having a woke, DEI, CRT, racism, everybody's racist, and tax and spend. And lastly, we don't need the rule of law. We'll respect the laws that we want to respect. Therefore, we're not going to respect the immigration law because we want everybody to come across the border. And as I said before, okay, we have 15, 20 million that have come across in the last 4 years. It doesn't matter. 100 million came across. That will not solve world poverty. The United States should not be in that position of solving world poverty. In fact, what we should be doing is focused on America and ensuring its strength and its wealth so that it becomes the pillar for the world to want to follow.
That's an American first policy.
Exactly. Make America great again. I know it's a MAGA thing, but just read the words. It's perfect.
It is. And we're going to end with that. America first policy is we got to make America great again. John?
And I'd like to thank you for helping me make it great again. I do appreciate your time, Cowboy Ken.
John, thank you. This is Cowboy Ken, John C. Shoemaker. Bare Bones Bob didn't get involved today from the drop zone. That is all. No, absolute.
Take care now.
Thank you.